Okay, so welcome everyone. My name is Maura Daly and I am the Director of Undergraduate Student Services in the College of Chemistry, and we are so thrilled to have you here in this session in particular. This is the first time we've held a session for admitted students who identify as first gen and or low income and or underrepresented students of color. And we have a panel of current undergrads who share the same identities to speak with you about their experiences. But first and foremost, we would like to congratulate you for being admitted to UC Berkeley and the College of Chemistry. It's a huge accomplishment. We know how hard you worked to get here, and we are really proud of you and hope you decide to join us. We'd love to meet you in person in the fall. So this session is going to be run by our lead advisor, Shemaya Pelham. But before she steps in, there's a couple of other people we want to introduce. I'm going to start by introducing my boss and our undergraduate dean, Professor of Chemistry, John Arnold, and he just wanted to stop by to say hello and check in with you all.
Thanks, Maura. Let me express my congratulations to you all. It's very exciting, and we're looking forward to seeing as many of you as possible here in Berkeley in the fall in person. We should be hopefully close to back to normal in the fall. And I wanted to mention a couple of things. First of all, you may be concerned that you're coming to a very big university in a very prestigious university and a prestigious college. You belong at Berkeley. You've been admitted to Berkeley, and you can make it here. I don't come from the area. You might have guessed that I have a slightly different accent. I'm from the United Kingdom. And I wanted to share with you that I came from a very poor background. I never finished high school. I had to leave school when I was 16 to get a job, and I worked in a plastics factory. I spent 4 years in night school, and that's how I got into university ultimately as a transfer student. And my parents didn't want me going to university. They thought it was a waste of time. My dad was a builder, and my mum looked after me and 3 other kids. And that was our existence in the north of England. I managed to do okay, and ultimately ended up at UCSD to do a PhD after I did a degree in the UK. And I've never really looked back. So if I can do it, I am sure you can do it too. You just have to want it. And if you want it and you're willing to reach out and ask for help, particularly at UC Berkeley, there are lots of amazing people who are on this call today who are ready, willing, and able to help you. So I hope to see you in the fall. Congratulations. And no matter where you end up, you're going to do great. So thank you. I am going to next introduce Bryce Yates. Bryce has just joined the college in the last few months. And his official title is, what's your official title, Bryce? I always forget this. You are?
Chief Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Officer. Chief DEI Officer.
Chief DEI Officer. So it's a pleasure to have Bryce here join our amazing team in the College of Chemistry at UC Berkeley. And I'll hand off to him to let him tell you a little bit about himself and what he's up to.
Yeah. Well, good afternoon, everyone, or maybe good evening to some folks, depending on where you're at in the country. Me right now, I am working remotely. As John mentioned, I've been with the college a little bit over 3 months now, but working remotely out of Texas. So it is evening for me and maybe evening for some of you all as well too. But again, good afternoon and welcome, and also congratulations. So again, I have the honor and privilege to serve as the inaugural Chief DEI Officer within the college. I say the honor and privilege because I'm able to work alongside renowned faculty, exceptional staff, as well as students who will be our future trailblazers in both academia and industry. As a professional, I've been able to grow my work in DEI. And as an academic, my research lies on the impact of DEI at predominantly white institutions. Serving as the Chief Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Officer, I don't take this role lightly, and I understand the importance of creating an equitable and inclusive environment for all faculty, staff, and students within the college. Some of the goals that we're working on are developing and directing programs that engage the college's faculty, staff, and students in STEM DEI efforts. I must share that I do not come from a STEM background. I have my PhD in higher education administration, master's in communication, and a bachelor's in Spanish. But I will also share with, as some of my colleagues know, I did start off as a biology major, but I quickly switched, well, not quickly switched, I took some time and had my struggles, and chemistry was the thing that made me switch from the pre-med biology to getting my Spanish degree. But for me, it is interesting how everything comes back full circle. Being able to work in the college, being able to interact with our faculty, staff, and students is really worthwhile and really enjoyable for me. So I do come to Berkeley with over a decade's experience in higher education, largely in roles supporting DEI. And then within my roles, I worked extensively with both students and university administration on planning and implementing diversity programs. Throughout my career, I've always strived to create environments and learning opportunities that have incorporated people, many cultures and backgrounds, particularly those underrepresented in academia. So again, I'm very excited to work with our undergraduate student population and working to ensure a smooth transition to Cal and the College of Chemistry. I will turn it back over to Mar.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Bryce. I appreciate that. And I appreciate you introducing yourself, staying up late or working late to come and introduce yourself to us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for the invitation.
And now, without further ado, it is my honor and my privilege to introduce my colleague and our lead advisor, Shemaya Pelham. Shemaya is also the founder and program manager of all of our academic support programs, our peer tutoring program, our peer advising program, and our chemistry and chemical engineering scholars program. And so I think I will just hand things over to you, Shemaya. She's going to be in charge this evening.
Thanks, Maura. So I'm Shemaya Pelham. I go by Maya as well. I too was a first-gen low-income underrepresented minority, so I know how important it is to take advantage of all of your resources that you have, especially support services that will help you navigate your educational journey and make sure that you are passing all of your classes, that you are feeling comfortable in all of your classes. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about each of the programs that I have the pleasure of running. So I'll share my screen and kind of run through a quick little PowerPoint for you. Okay, so we'll start with our peer tutors. We have some of them on our panel, so they'll be able to tell you a little bit more about what they do. So peer tutoring currently is Monday through Friday. It's remote now, but we have a wonderful peer tutoring center in the College of Chemistry. We're staffed with 19 peer tutors right now that support students with lower division and upper division courses. So all of your lower division STEM courses up to your upper division STEM courses, peer tutors are there, usually from 10 to 5 to tutor you and answer your questions. My computer's froze, sorry. Okay, there we go. So peer advising. So peer advising, currently we have 14 peer advisors, and peer advisors are a great resource for you because they're your peers and they understand everything that you're experiencing and your journey. They're oftentimes better suited to talk to you than us advisors because they're in the thick of it. They're taking the classes. They know all of the professors. They know how to select classes, what courses you should actually be scheduling together. They do research in the college, so they're able to talk to you and let you know about all of the research that they do and the different faculty that are also doing the research in the College of Chemistry. So that's definitely something you want to take advantage of too, is talking to your peers and making those connections. So lastly, I'll talk a little bit about Chem Scholars. So those are our UGSIs, which stands for Undergraduate Student Instructors. And they are students that are teaching supplementary labs, not lab, but supplementary sections for some of our big classes that are pretty intensive for students. So that's general chemistry, Chem 4A, 4B. That's organic chemistry, 12A, 12B. And then that's physical chemistry, 120A. And then CBE 140, which are all classes that you'll be required to take. So the goal of Chem Scholars has always been to increase the retention and the success rates of students from underrepresented backgrounds, especially with chemistry and STEM and CLC. So usually students will go to, they're all remote now, but in a normal setting, I do run some of those sections in the tutoring center that I mentioned. And they're 3 hours a week, and they're in addition to your regular lectures you'll have with your faculty. And then also the laboratories and also the GSIs that you'll talk to as well. So those are all programs that I run that are really, really, really important, I think, to your academic success, especially in the College of Chemistry. They're all student run, and those are at the forefront to help you. And yeah, so I guess now we'll get started with our panel. If you have questions about any of the student support services, please put it in the chat. Some of them are on the panel, like I said, so they'll be able to elaborate and tell you a little bit more about their involvement in the programs as well. So let's get started with the panel. I'll have all of you introduce yourselves and say your major, your year, your name, your hometown. And also maybe if you're graduating, can you say what you're going to do after graduation? Like Josh, I know you're gonna go to med school, which is awesome. So if you could do that too, if you're gonna graduate and go on to do wonderful things, can you, I just busted you out, huh? Can you just say it? And yeah, we'll get started. Since I busted you out, Josh, where you wanna go first?
Yeah, hi, I'm Joshua Ramos. I'm a fourth year chemical biology student. I'm from West Covina in SoCal, so it's one of the many suburbs in LA. I'm not going to med school, I'm going to pharmacy school, but
Right, pharmacy school. I knew it was one of those. It's still big things. So
yeah, I'll be attending UCSF School of Pharmacy this upcoming summer. So I'm super excited to be going directly there from here, no gap year.
Walter, you want to go up?
For sure, yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm a Chem Bio major. I'm also a transfer student, and I am graduating this semester. I'm planning on working with one of my old community college professors for a while in his lab. He has like a joint lab with UCSD, which is where I'm from, San Diego. Yeah, I grew up between here and Tijuana, Mexico. So I had like a very sort of weird experience growing up in between the US and Mexico. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm planning. And I'm also the the lead tutor for the peer tutoring program. So if you have any questions about that, I can answer those.
Jesus, you want to go next?
Hi, everyone. My name is Jesus Aguilar. I am a fourth year majoring in chemical biology. I am from Baldwin Park, California, which is another suburb of SoCal. And although I'm not planning to graduate this semester, I'm planning to graduate next fall. I am planning to work in the biotech, in a biotech company here in the Bay after graduation.
Thanks, Jesus. Diana, you want to go next?
Hello, I'm Diana Garza, she, they pronouns. I am a fourth year chem bio major. I'm from Oxnard, California, which is like between LA and Santa Barbara. And right after graduating this semester, I'm planning to go to UCSF as well for pharmacy school this summer. So that's exciting.
Thanks, Diana. Calvin?
Hey everybody, my name is Calvin. I'm a third year chemical biology major. I'm currently a tutor, part of the peer tutoring program, and next year I'll be the lead tutor. So yeah, definitely stop by if you need help with any classes or anything, and we will like try to help you with whatever you need. And as for like post-graduation plans, I'm a third year yet, so I don't exactly know, but I do plan to go to grad school.
Thanks, everyone. So can you talk a little bit about why you chose UCB and CLC, College of Chemistry? Josh, you can go.
Yeah, I guess I'll go first. I'm from LA, obviously, and I chose UC Berkeley because I wanted to be more independent. I'm the youngest of I have 3 older siblings, so I was kind of really spoiled growing up, at least from my dad. So I wanted to be away from home, and I thought, Berkeley's the furthest UC I could go. I didn't want to leave out of state because I know out of state schools were really expensive. And so Berkeley just seemed perfect for me. I could be independent. I have an uncle who lives nearby, so if anything, I could go to him for any emergencies. But yeah, as for choosing College of Chemistry, I actually didn't mean to do it at first. I meant to go into a biochem program, and when I was applying, I saw a College of Chemistry before LNS. But honestly, it was one of the greatest decisions I've ever made, sticking through it instead of transferring out. This college is super renowned, and the payout has just been great. I've learned so much about myself. I've improved in study skills and balancing my work and with school. And so, yeah, after my first semester at College of Chemistry, I realized that chemistry wasn't as scary as what I thought it would be, and it was something I really wanted to pursue throughout my undergrad.
Thanks, Josh. Diana, you want to say a little bit?
I have similar sentiments since I'm from like SoCal. I kind of wanted to like branch out and like seek my own independence. Like both of my older siblings had both went to college near home, and they're like the type to go home, do their laundry every weekend, my parents' house, steal from my parents' house. And like, even though I did want those benefits as well, I kind of wanted to move away and see what the Bay was like. So I think area was also a big thing for me. Also, similar to Josh, I really didn't know what the College of Chem like entailed. And because I thought, chemistry like would be the same across all boards of each college. And like, I think for me, my major was like the least worry that I had in picking college, because I always thought, hey, what if I don't like it? I can change it anytime I want. But then at the end of the day, College of Chem was really where I stuck to it. I just feel like the structure of the program is just really well thought out, and I like ended up really enjoying chemistry more than I thought I was. But I think, although back in my adolescence, being 18, having to make a big life decision, I really didn't know what I was doing, but I don't regret my choice at all. Although right now, y'all trying to decide which college to go to is probably really overwhelming. And looking back, I really don't think I was putting too much thought into it as I should have, but I know y'all are gonna make the right choice for yourselves.
Jesus.
Hi. So I had also like similar experiences to both Josh and Diana. I only applied to UC Berkeley, like thinking I was gonna. I wanted to be a chemistry major initially. So on the application, you apply and you apply to like either College of Chem or LNS. So I logically thought, I want to do chemistry, so College of Chem is gonna be like what I'm gonna do. And then I'm the oldest of 4 siblings, and I also wanted to like go far away from home and try to live independently. And growing up in SoCal, I didn't know what the Bay was like, so I think Berkeley was a good like mixture of both education and geography, where I could like learn and grow by myself.
Thanks, Jesus. Walter?
Yeah, I had a very similar experience that I didn't really know the like prestige behind the college when I applied. It wasn't until I got accepted. When I applied, I was planning on going to UCLA. My entire like transfer plan was for UCLA, and it wasn't until I got the word from Berkeley and I kind of did my research that I started liking the college, and I liked when I went to like I think it was like transfer week or something like that. That I visited the college. I liked the Bay Area a lot, and I kind of knew that I wouldn't move to the Bay Area for any other reason if it wasn't for school. So yeah, that's why I ended up going with it.
Calvin?
Hey. Yeah, I hate to like round out the segment with kind of similar answer, but I also like didn't know too much about the College of Chemistry before applying, which I think like going off of everybody else's response kind of shows that you don't need to be like 100% sure what you want to do in life at the age of 18. Like it's okay not to know, and it's okay to like when you come to college like change what you want to do. But I will say like in high school I really liked chemistry, and applying to this program it was sort of like uh, kind of just like taking a shot, you know, because I didn't know I was going to get in. But I think more important than like choosing the College of Chem to begin with is like choosing to stay in the College of Chem. Um, and that was just because I like uh, after like taking a few classes and like uh, getting to know more about like the vibe of the college, I found like the College of Chemistry is like very accommodating, and it's also like a very sort of like tight knit community within this massive school that is Berkeley. Yeah, and I just ended up like really liking the material and really liking the people that I got to know.
Thanks, Calvin. So can you talk a little bit about each of you, any fears or concerns you had before coming to Cal, and how did you deal with those?
Yeah, I could kick it off. So definitely something that I think a lot of people think about is dealing with the debt for going to college. It's expensive. It's a lot of times something that just accumulates and you're just going to work a lot of your life to try and pay off. And that had really scared me, I didn't like, I definitely was worried about having just this massive debt for the rest of my life, and never thinking I'm going to be able to pay it off. But it definitely working with my dad and working with the school. The school's really understanding about with regard to financial aid, and they'll help you out if you're having issues. You could reach out to them. In addition to this, I didn't really work before coming to college, and when I got and I knew that when I came here, I was going to have to get a job because my dad really wouldn't support me too much anymore. So I was scared of the thought of having to balance a heavy workload alongside work. And because you do take a lot of classes when you're coming here, and like they're not always going to be the easiest. And that leads me to the next point. I'd never really struggled in high school, but I knew coming to such a big school, there's going to be like so many great minds, and I can't expect to be the best in every single class that I'm in. And so I was really scared of things like failing or getting my first C. I didn't know what a curve was. So all these things about like classes just really scared me. And I really dealt with them through like talking with peers that I know, older class or upperclassmen who have been through that. Really help guide you when you come here.
Thanks, Josh. Jesus, you want to go?
Yeah, I can go. So I had all the fears that you guys probably may have right now as you're deciding to go like which school you want to go to. One of the biggest ones was like going far away from my family. I'm come from a Mexican background, so like I grew up like being close to my aunts, my cousins, like basically everyone in my household. And one of the things was like leaving them for 4 years, like how would that affect me, and like how will like I guess like being homesick sometimes can like definitely take a toll, but sometimes you can also just go home during breaks and you visit them when you need to. um Another thing that I mentioned from before was being alone for the first time here in the Bay. I personally don't have any family here in the Bay, so I kind of have to be like very independent. And after your first year, once you move out of the dorms, you have to live on your own with like roommates and whatnot, like in an apartment. And if you're lucky, you can maybe get like on-campus housing. That is kind of rare at times. And then another concern that I also had was, finding friends in the community within college that I can bond with and relate to. Obviously UC Berkeley is a pretty big school, but I feel like within the College of Chem, like my other peers mentioned, it is a pretty tight-knit community. And I think like within your first year, maybe you'll be able to find a group of friends and people that you could probably study with and work with. And I think like you'll be able to like stick through them, hopefully for the entire 4 years.
Thanks, Jesus. Walter, you want to answer?
Yeah, I think the thing that I was worried about the most was the size of the school. I went to community college before this, so I was used to a smaller setting. Even though my community college was, I think, like the biggest in SoCal or something like that, like it was still pretty small in comparison to Berkeley. So I was really worried about that. But when I visited Cal and I saw the college itself, and I just learned more about the College of Chemistry, it really is more of a tight-knit community. And like after a while, you just notice that everyone feels the same way. Everyone's kind of worried about not being able to make those connections. So everyone's always willing to make that connection with you, wherever you are. Like if you're in a class, everyone wants to form a study group. Not everyone says it, but they do want that. So just kind of putting yourself out there helps in just creating that community.
Thanks, Walter. You want to say a little bit, Calvin?
Yeah, I think one of the things I was definitely very concerned about coming to Berkeley was just the academic rigor that's associated with the school. Like I kind of remember when I first visited on Cal Day back when things were in person, speaking to some of the students and stuff, everybody was sort of really emphatic about the fact that there's going to be a lot of hard work involved, and there's going to be a lot of studying, a lot of stressing over classes. And I guess coming from a high school that wasn't very good, and especially going into such a sort of renowned program as the College of Chemistry, I was definitely very concerned about classes and stuff. But I think one of the best parts about the College of Chemistry is, as Maya said earlier, there's all these support programs. There's the there's the peer tutoring service. There's the Chem Scholars for which is sort of an extra supplementary class for really difficult classes that you might be struggling with. And then there's also peer tutoring and peer advising. And as Walter said earlier, there's also so many different people you can reach out to and work with and sort of form a community with in your academic adventure, I guess. Yeah, so yeah, I guess just the academic stress of it all, but also the fact that there's a lot that you can do in order to put yourself into a better situation.
Thanks, Calvin. Diana, I think you haven't gone yet, have you? Go ahead.
I think one big thing for me was that feeling of imposter syndrome, which is still very much real for me. I know y'all have probably grinded through high school and other things, and you're gonna probably still feel that you're not enough, that you probably don't belong in this institution. Do I really deserve to go to Berkeley? And that's what was running through my mind, and then it still goes through my mind even though I'm about to graduate. So I think thinking about the academic rigor and do I really belong to be here was really a struggle for me to accept. And one other thing that I was really concerned about before coming here was finding a community. I'm Filipino, but I grew up in a predominantly Latinx community, and so going to NorCal, I really didn't know what to expect. And coming to Berkeley, it was a culture shock for me because there's so many people with different backgrounds, even more privileged backgrounds than where I come from, and it's just really shocking how they experience college versus how you experience college. And so it was really a struggle to really accept that people are going to do better than me, and again that imposter syndrome was very strong. And so I think for me, just finding a good community was my main concern. And being away from the Bay Area, I wouldn't really even see the friends I'm used to seeing back at home. And so having to find a brand new set of people and I'm very antisocial, so it was very hard for me to meet new people. So that was a very overwhelming thing for me as well.
Thanks, Diana. And so speaking of community, I know you're involved in several spaces on campus and active in the community. I know I just put you guys on blast so much, huh? But can you talk about the spaces you're involved in, like how that kind of came about, and how you got involved and you actually found that community?
I'm really excited about this question because I really did find like a community I enjoyed here at Berkeley. At first, I was introduced to the Filipinx community through a Filipino American student orientation, and that's actually where I found like one of my bestest friends who's also in College of Chem. It was amazing. So through that, I became involved in PASS, which is the Filipinx Academic Student Services, which is the recruitment and retention center on campus. We focus on like recruiting and retaining underrepresented students of color on campus through education. And so that was like some work I really became involved in. Like, even though it seems like really unrelated to like your chemistry goals, like maybe unrelated to like my goals in the future, I really wanted to base myself in a lot of community work here on campus. I know a lot of people are experiencing like the same feelings that the same worries and experiences I have. So I really wanted to help students such as yourselves to like get through higher education. And so through that, I'm also involved in the Bridges Multicultural Resource Center. I've currently served 2 years as their finance director, and it's honestly been so amazing. They provide a lot of community, and like I've grown so many friendships in that place. And I think without that community, I would have not grown and just thrived as much as I have here at Berkeley. I think the one main thing that I've learned is that finding your community here is really important. I know I'm saying the word community a lot, and I know my first day here at Cal Day, I noticed that they kept saying community, and I was like, what the heck? But it's actually super important when you get here because you want to find a sense of belonging. And I think I know some of y'all may have attended our past senior weekend for the Bridges Multicultural Resource Center. We had our senior weekend for underrepresented students of color, finding out more about the campus. And so you might have heard about that, but I really encourage y'all to like research the different kinds of things that occur on campus, because honestly, I would have not be here if it wasn't for Bridges. So that's my plug and spiel, sorry.
Walter, can you talk a little bit about how you found community, especially being a transfer student as well?
Yeah, for sure. I got really, really lucky during my orientation that I found most of my friends right now in orientation. I got like a really great group of people. And then the tutoring program, that was huge for me, like making the actual connection in the community, like in the college campus, that was huge. So being involved in tutoring helped me a ton. Both like just talking to other tutors, but just helping other students. I learned so much about the college, and I learned about the community itself. I'm also going to say community 1,000 times, but it's really important. I second that 100%. And just kind of being open to the experience of meeting people from very different backgrounds. Diana, you mentioned like different privilege like status, and that was also a huge shock to me. I kind of grew up around people that were in the same like low economic status as myself, and seeing how everyone struggles with college very differently, and some people just did not have the same worries that I did, was kind of a huge shock. But expanding that as well, and my view of that sort of thing was also really helpful in just understanding the school.
Thanks, Walter. Hey, Jesus, you want to say a little bit?
Yeah. So yeah. So I can also relate to like Walter. You know, like during orientation week, I actually found like my first group of friends, which include Josh and Diana. They're in this panel as well. And like similarly, like Walter mentioned, I think like 2 questions before. Everyone is also trying to find people to study with and you know, work with, especially since a lot of the classes in the College of Chem are pretty rigorous. So don't be shy to like put yourself out there and, you know, try to ask people like, oh, do you want to work like on the problem set together, or maybe even study sometime? Like people are more willing than you think so.
Thanks, Jesus. Calvin?
Yeah, as for how, like, I guess, wait, the question was about, like, we've said the word community so much, I'm like inclined to think about community. Okay. But yeah, I really found like my sort of group that I like to like spend time with actually through for example like the Chem peer tutoring program, and then also like the Chem scholars classes, both like as working as a tutor and also just attending the classes as a student. Because like in those programs, it's a lot more intimate. There's like more of an interpersonal connection than attending, for example, like a 300-person class where you don't know as many people. And as for like other things, there's as everybody else has mentioned, there's like clubs. For example, I'm in the American Chemical Society, which is sort of like a chemistry-oriented club that we have on campus. And there's also ACTS, which is a professional fraternity for like geared more towards chemistry. And like the people I know in those have like managed to find connections through uh, those organizations. And at the end of the day, there's also just like sort of like random miscellaneous ways in order to sort of like find your cohort here at Berkeley. Like for example, I'm like my first year I lived in the dorms, and I still have like a lot of friends who like were on the same floor as me, and we hang out and do things. So yeah, I think there's a lot of opportunities to sort of find your community here at Cal, and yeah, yeah.
Josh?
Yeah, just reiterating, I met my closest friends during GBO, and honestly, I've been really grateful for that whole program, because I'm not really the type of person to put myself out there during classes. I'm typically really shy, so I was really glad to have met like Diana and Jesus so early on, especially because we have like similar goals and interests, and it's making connections like this are just really important, because uh like you never know who's going to help you out later on in life. I was tutored by somebody I think like sophomore year, and he ended up helping me get a research position at UCSF, doing organic chemistry. So yeah, even though I'm not too active in a lot of communities, because I don't really like putting myself out there too much, um I have been able to find, a really small, close group of friends that are mentors who have really helped guide me throughout my undergrad experience. And I'm really grateful for that.
Thanks, Josh. So the next question, I'm really big on self-advocacy and advocating for yourself, especially as a student of color, first gen, or however you identify. So I think it's important that each of you also talk about how you kind of approach self-advocacy, especially being not a part of the majority in the College of Chemistry, because it's daunting to talk to professors or even your GSIs. So how did each of you approach that? Self-advocacy. You want to start, Walter?
For sure, yeah. I found that for myself, I end up helping myself by helping others a lot. That's just a little bit easier. So if I can kind of put it in that sort of mentality for me, I just kind of end up helping more people. So I got involved with tutoring primarily because of that, because I knew that the students that struggled the most were the students that didn't have a private tutor in high school, or didn't have all the opportunities that other people did. And that's why I got involved. And through that, I got the chance to work in so many other things, like a different like diversity committees, through like Maya's help as well. And getting involved in that sort of movement within the college. I'm indirectly helping myself because I belong to those communities, but I guess in that way I stopped thinking about it as being about me. And that helped me get involved.
Love that response, Walter. Jesus, what about you?
One way that I approach self-advocacy in my academics is, sometimes you have to like speak up for yourself. A lot of times, well, not a lot of times, but sometimes you may have a professor that like really sucks at teaching, and like you just have to like really like, even though it may be kind of intimidating in a large classroom setting, you just have to like ask questions. That's how you learn, by like, if you don't know, then you must ask. And at the same time, if being like, sorry, if asking questions in a large classroom setting is not your thing, you know, there's also power in numbers. So if you have like a group of friends and you may want to study together, you may decide to go to office hours. Maybe it could be with a GSI or a professor and ask questions there. Yeah, you know, you just have to like really go out of your way to try to get the help that you may need.
Thanks, Jesus. Diana, you want to answer that one?
Yeah, I actually do still struggle with advocating for myself. It's so funny that Jesus mentions the questions because I remember sitting next to him in class and I'll make him ask the questions for me because just asking things, even if it's on one-on-one, my heart literally beats so fast. Like even right now we're on Zoom and I'm still like hella nervous. So it's just like one thing that I do remember though advocating for myself is just like knowing my capacity, my workload. Throughout college, I've had to work 2 part-time jobs, being low income and like having to deal with bridges and like all my other extracurriculars and like classes. And so I remember one year I was like super struggling and like, again, imposter syndrome, like, can I really drop this class right now? Am I good enough? If I drop this class, am I worth any less? And so actually dropping my first class in college, like doing like an emergency drop was actually, it was intimidating, but it actually helped me so much. And like, it was like so glad to know like the next semester when I did take that class, when I actually had the headspace for it, I actually achieved like an A. So like knowing yourself, knowing your capacities is like really important, even when self-advocating for yourself. It could just be little things like dropping a class or like asking that you need help. I still struggle on a daily asking for people to help me. But at the end of the day, you can't solve all your problems yourself and you're gonna have to ask for help eventually. And so if you're like me and you're really shy, and I can barely even go to my professor's office hours because I'm scared I'm going to be the only one there and I'm going to have to talk to them myself. Bring your friends with you. GSIs are also more friendly to talk to sometimes, so please reach out to them. But like finding people that you can ask for help is like really important. It's people that you're comfortable with too.
Love that power in numbers. And the GSIs are the graduate student instructors that support the faculty. Just I know I said it earlier too, UGSIs or undergraduates, just in case everyone's not familiar with the acronyms, and we'll say CLC because it's shorter, so that's College of Chemistry. I do it a lot. So Josh, you want to go ahead and answer that?
Yeah, I'm definitely on the same boat. I put a lot of trust in my friends, you know, because I know my friends work hard and, you know, I know they're doing the best for themselves. So I'll usually reach out to them a lot, it's harder for me because at times I feel like I'm out of place, you know, and I feel like, why am I the only one not understanding this? But that's why, you know, having a good close group of friends really helps you deal with that fear. And also with regard to balancing work and school, you sometimes just have to have a conversation with your boss. You know, if you're working too many hours, you need to let them know that, you know, like academics must always come first. And that's really a scary conversation to have because you're working there because you need to, not because you want to. And you're scared that your boss might get mad that you're reducing your hours or that you're not working enough. And, you know, it's something that you got to stand up for yourself. Otherwise, you know, you might be put in a bad situation where you start failing classes or start falling behind because you're working too many hours. So you really got to have that talk and like set your boundaries with regard to work.
Thanks, Josh. Calvin, how did you deal with self-advocacy?
I think for self-advocacy, there's one thing that that I really had to learn was like just not comparing myself to everybody all the time. Because at Berkeley, there are some people who are just like kind of like insane with how much work they're able to do. Like you hear about some people who are in like 2 labs taking 20 units and like working a job or something. And yeah, everybody just kind of functions on different wavelengths. You can't expect to be able to like compare yourself to everybody. And yeah, obviously everybody has different situations too. Some people might have financial concerns. Some people might be struggling with family or interpersonal relationships. So I think one of just the most important things is learning to be able to like give yourself a break sometimes. Maybe maybe you don't have to take as many units as you can that semester, you know. Yeah, and like burnout is definitely very real. I think like especially this semester, a lot of people have been feeling it. So yeah, it's important to like not burn yourself out. And like as for like a different part of self-advocacy and like feeling comfortable with yourself, I think it's definitely like an ongoing process. Like there's not an end goal where like you reach a point that you're just like completely okay with advocating for yourself and to like feel comfortable with who you are. Um, so yeah, I would just say like don't be too hard on yourself for that.
Thanks, Calvin. So yeah, next question. How did you deal with not being part of the majority in your classes? Like I know me coming from LA, being one of the only Black girls in the 200 lecture hall was like the worst thing ever. It was such a culture shock for me. How did you deal with that transition when you came to not only chemistry, but UC Berkeley in general, with not being the majority or not seeing people that look like you on campus? Let's see, who should I pick on first? Hey, Sus, you can go.
Hi, so like not being part of the majority in some of my courses. So obviously UC Berkeley is a pretty big school. I am brown, come from Mexican background. And I dealt I dealt with not being part of the majority in some of my courses by finding a community within within the university. So for example, before starting my first semester here at UC Berkeley, I attended the summer bridge program, which I'm not sure if they're doing it in person this year, but if they are, I highly recommend that you attend it. Basically, it's I think it's
one thing too is we have our own little entity of Summer Bridge in College of Chemistry, thanks to Dean Arnold now.
Oh, they do that? That's really good. That's actually amazing.
College of Chemistry too.
So within that program, it's a 6-week program. You come on campus during the summer, and you basically take pre-introductory courses, just basically that allow you to get adjusted to the workload of UC Berkeley. And I'm really thankful for taking that program. Also, as a side note, it was completely free for me since I come from a low-income background. So if you have any financial issues, make sure to reach out and ask your questions. So from that program, I was able to, find a variety of students that had similar backgrounds from me. Like the majority of them were low income, or also students of color too. And even from back then, like even before my first semester of college, I made friends that I still have now to this day.
Thanks, Jesus. Josh, you want to say a little bit?
Yeah. Not being like not I'm also a Latino background. I'm fairly fair skin. But I still did feel pretty strong culture shock when coming here. Which I really dealt with actually through rather than like sinking back and feeling uncomfortable, I put myself out there to actually learn a lot more other minority backgrounds, or speaking to other students about how they felt. And I realized that like a lot of the feelings mutual, I don't think I don't know. I worked at a dining hall in the international dining hall for 3 years, and I met a lot of other low-income students who work there too. And I talked to a lot of the residents there as well. And just learning about other people's cultures and learning how so many people came together at the school really made me feel as if I wasn't the like minority anymore. Rather, I saw all of us together as like one whole.
Thanks, Josh. So Maura, our advising director, is going to say a little bit more, because I see a question too in the chat about Summer Bridge.
Yeah, so our undergrad dean, John Arnold, who introduced himself in the beginning, along with a couple of other faculty in the chemistry department and the director of the Summer Bridge program, are in the process of creating a College of Chemistry specific chemistry class for Summer Bridge students who are who have been admitted to the College of Chemistry. So it's a new class, and it's going to focus on really preparing students for Chem 4A in particular, and it's going to have a substantial lab component. So we're really excited about it. It's a new class. It's not the sort of traditional prep for Chem class that has been offered in the past, Chem 32. It's a brand new class, and we're super excited about it. We think it will really help people transition into Chem 4A in a new and more effective way. To participate, you have to have been invited to participate in Summer Bridge. It's on an invitation only basis, as far as I know. So if you have, oh, cool. Jesus took Chem 32 during Summer Bridge. Awesome. That's great. Nothing bad about Chem 32. Just to say that the new class that's coming is really aiming students specifically for Chem 4A, and which is a little bit different from what I understand than Chem 32. But anyway, you should have received information about the Summer Bridge program, but if you're still curious or you want to know more, I'm going to put my email in the chat right now, and you can just, oops, I sent that to Shamaya, not to everyone. Let me try one more time. Okay, all right. Is that right? Yeah. Okay. So, yeah. Any questions about the Summer Bridge program? Just reach out.
I had a quick question. Is Chem 1A, is Chem 4A still required for the first semester?
Excellent question. Not necessarily. So it's going to depend on so Chem 4A is really, or in the past, I should say, has been designed specifically for people who passed AP Chemistry with a 4 or 5. However, because our student body is changing, from what I understand, the chemistry faculty is trying to pivot to make Chem 4A not less rigorous, but more accessible. So, but having said that, there's going to be numbers of students who either could not or were not invited to participate in Summer Bridge. And so depending on your background, it may be more appropriate for you to start with Chem 1A and 1AL, which is the lab. So those are the choices, either Chem 1, which is a first semester general chemistry course designed not just for College of Chemistry students, but for all STEM majors who have to take chemistry. And then Chem 4A is really a College of Chemistry course. But our students who start with Chem 1A and 1AL tend to do fine in their other courses, in their upper division classes. So I will stop there.
Thanks, Maura. Diana, did you say anything about how you dealt with not being in the majority? You want to say something about that?
Sure. For me, it was very overwhelming at first, kind of like I've never really felt before that I was like the only brown person in the room, but then it really felt like that starting off, especially during your lower division classes. You're like in big lecture halls and you're just like, wow, I feel like I'm standing out. But one great thing about College of Chem is that since we are such like a small community, once you have your friends in like your specific major, you're probably going to have like the rest of your classes with them like for the rest of your like college career. And so like being with Josh and Jesus for like a really long time was like finding your friends like makes it really more comfortable to be in that classroom setting. Back when we were in person, I remember sometimes pulling up some classes alone and still feeling like, wow, where am I gonna sit? And that's one thing I kind of don't miss about lecture halls, but I think just finding your friends within the College of Chem really makes it less overwhelming, and just makes classes more tolerable and like whispering questions of what the professor said next to your friends is always a good thing to do when you're back in person. But yeah, that's definitely one thing that makes it less overwhelming in the classroom.
Thanks, Diana. Walter, you want to say a little bit about it?
Yeah, I will say that I hadn't noticed what a big component being Mexican was in my identity until I left where I'm at, just because Mexico's like 10 minutes away from me here. So I've never had an issue with it. So when I moved away, I noticed that it was a big issue, like not having Mexican food, for example, or not being able to speak Spanish. Like that was a big deal. So finding people that I could do that sort of thing with, finding like, just friends that I could speak Spanish to, or that would know about Mexican food places and stuff like that, which wasn't as good as the SoCal Mexican food, but still it kind of did it for the moment. So that was very important. And I also felt as a minority, like as a transfer student, that was a big thing. Like going into not even necessarily the College of Chemistry, but just Berkeley in general, you get this sense of all these groups are formed already when you're a transfer student. Everybody's already kind of knows each other. So kind of getting over that fear of people treating you differently because of whatever background you're from was a big thing for me. So just getting involved in more clubs and more like different things. Tutoring again was big for me. Just I think maybe like 5 or 6 of our tutors are transfer students, but the rest aren't. So I just kind of met a lot of people in the college through that, and then all the students that I ended up helping, or even just hanging out in the tutoring center, other people would help me as well, and that sort of thing helped a lot.
Thanks, Walter. Calvin, you want to say a little bit about it?
Yeah, I guess talking about the background that I'm from, I think like racially, I'm not really part of the minority here at Cal. But I think like in terms of like income and sort of like educational background, I didn't come from like the best high school. I think that did lead to feelings of like how difficult it was to adjust to like the academic standards that are kind of expected at Cal. Just talking a little bit about high school. I was part of like the 4th graduating class, and nobody had ever passed the AP Chem exam. And I was actually like the first one, and that actually like led me to really like Chem. So that's like part of my backstory. But yeah, everybody, you kind of realize that everybody like comes from very different backgrounds over here, and like coming from sort of like a low income background, it's definitely a very different experience where you have to sort of like worry about your finances and budgeting a lot, and also having to like work in order to like pay for tuition and stuff. But yeah, I think I kind of agree with what Diana said earlier, where like the friends you make in a class and sort of like the people that you surround yourself with and find yourself comfortable with here at Cal makes a really big difference as to like how you sort of like adjust to the whole environment.
Thanks, Calvin. And I like how you put into perspective too that you're not by the eye minority, but there's different ways that we can define that role, and that that is good that you touched on that as well. Okay, so another question is, what do you wish you would have known in retrospect? And you knew it earlier. Like for me, I know I would have wished that I would have asked more questions, and I probably wouldn't have written most of my assignments out. Instead of going to the library, I had no idea where the library was at UCSC, or that even was an option for me. So I spent time writing my essay. So that's one thing that I wish I would have actually asked questions about, things that I was uncertain of, especially my freshman year. So can you talk a little bit about challenges that you may have experienced as well in COC or at UCB, and what you wish you would have known earlier? Let's go with
Can I
Diana.
go first? So I think for me, I wish I would have reached out more, and especially using like the COC resources more, especially Shamaya is so amazing. I wish I had talked to her more my first year, and even like all my advisors. I love Shamaya. Every time I came into her office, she's like, I love your outfit. And I'm like, I had actually wished that I spent more time there. I think I wish I would have used the peer advising, especially my first and second year, I definitely needed that guidance. One thing I did like is that the Chem Scholar program that we have here is like the supplementary like class to your lower division classes. Those are so helpful. They kind of like also, everyone who's there is kind of there to learn more with you as well, and like are struggling at the same time you are. And so having that space where we're all kind of like, you know, in community of struggling helps you like know that you're not alone. So I think utilizing more of the COC resources is something I wish I would have done, just like more beyond than like this Chem Scholar program. But other than that, I think that's all I have to say. I do have to go though, but thank y'all for listening to my
Thank you, Diana. Thank you so much for participating. Bye. Josh, you want to go?
Yeah, of course. No, yeah, just to reiterate what Dana said, I really wish I would have put myself out there more, asking a lot more questions or reaching out to GSIs or professors. They're definitely really valuable resources. They're great minds, and you really got to utilize that, you know, for your own benefit. I also wish I would have known about, or I wish I would have done Chem Scholars earlier. I used it for the OChem series 12A and 12B, and it honestly helped me like so much. Like it was one of the greatest experiences ever. It really helped me deal with that fear of failing OChem. You know, everyone dreads it, but I think with that class, it was so much more bearable compared to, for example, my struggles in quantum mechanics or my struggles in Chem 4B. So I wish I would have known about that earlier and used it, because those extra supplements really do make the difference in your performance. And it's easy for me. I'm the type of person who wants to figure out things on my own. I like to deal with my own problems. I'm scared to reach out to people for a lot of things like that. But like Dinah said, like everyone's in the same boat there, and everyone's there because they need the help, and you don't feel so alone when you're in those programs. I wish I would use peer tutoring a lot more too. We have a really good peer tutoring program. They're really friendly people, and the few times that I did get help there, it just clarified so much for me in my classes. We have an amazing study lounge that you should utilize. It's really comfortable in there. Just so many so many students working together, helping each other out, even strangers coming over if they're not peer tutors and helping you out. So it's a really nice place to go. And even if you don't have a lot of work to do, you just hang out there and help others, and you know, you teach yourself through that. And yeah, definitely go to your peer advisor and, you know, hear about their struggles, because everyone's gone through the same thing that you have. And it's easy to say that you figure out things on your own and you got time, but you really don't have as much time as you think. So definitely reach out to people.
That's really great, Josh. Yes, you think that you have time, but utilize your resources. Peer advisors are the best. I was a peer advisor, so that's why I'm I feel so strongly about peer advising, because of your peers. So they know more than us advisors. We know, we've been trained for this, so we know exactly, you know, how to help you navigate your academic journey, as far as courses and things like that go. But they know like the professors that you should take a class with, or oh, this one isn't so good, so take it with him or her. So utilize peer advising for sure. Jesus, you want to say a little bit?
I kind of want to piggyback off of what Josh just said. Basically, like time does fly. I still remember like my first day stepping on campus during senior weekend, and now I can't believe like I'm one semester away from graduating, and like it's just crazy how everything just comes together. In retrospect, one thing that I wish I had known earlier was, you know, taking advantage of the resources that the college has to offer. Josh mentioned like the peer tutoring services. Every time I went, I don't think I ever left like knowing less or disappointed. I always left with an answer to any question that I may have had. Another thing is also like developing relationships with like professors and staff in the college. A lot of the professors here are some of the best in chemistry in the world. So, you know, networking with them can be useful, especially if you plan to continue your studies after undergrad. Like, for example, like if you want to go for grad school or med school. And another thing also take advantage of the Chem Scholars Program, just because it is always really helpful, especially for the lower div classes. The Chem 4 series and the OChem series, which are some of the more difficult classes that you're going to take your first 2 years.
Thanks, Jesus. Walter, I don't think you've gone yet. Have you gone yet?
Yeah, I wish I'd known, or I mean, I kind of knew how academically difficult it would be, but I hadn't really like thought about it too much. And it is very academically difficult. So asking for help is very important. So doing your research on the programs available that can help you out is huge. I think a lot of transfer students have this mentality of they can't ask for help because they'll be seen as lesser than other students. And kind of just getting over that is huge. I wish I'd done that sooner. I think my first semester would have probably gone a lot smoother if I had just asked for help when I needed it, instead of trying to like work through it on my own. So yeah, that is kind of the biggest thing, just knowing when to ask for help.
Yes, that is important. Knowing when to ask for help. Do not wait until you're drowning or sacrificing your mental health and not eating and taking care of yourself before you get help. It's important. Us advisors are here. You have peers around you. Ask for help for sure. Calvin, I don't think, have you gone?
Not yet. Yeah, I 100% agree with that. Like knowing when to ask for help is like probably one of the most important things that you should like kind of get used to here at Cal. And like it doesn't make you like any less like qualified or like hardworking to ask for help. It's probably like one of the best things you can do. And I would say like something else that I would probably give to my past self as advice would just be like to kind of just like take chances. For example, like don't be afraid to email a professor or something. Like the worst they can do is ignore you. They're not gonna like uh talk ill of you behind your back or anything. Yeah, so just like take that chance, like reach out to that professor, reach out to that graduate student, apply for that club or job or whatever, and just yeah, like and you kind of like do have to put yourself out there, and like I know that is very hard. That is something I struggle with as well. But like yeah, it's just sorry, I'm kind of like at a loss of words. But yeah, it's just something that that helps you like get ahead, and you kind of like have to do it eventually. And like sometimes it's just as easy as like sending a simple email or something. So yeah, that's what I would probably tell myself.
Thanks, Calvin. And thank you to our panelists. We can open it up now for any questions that you all may have. You can unmute yourself. You can type it in the chat. It's a smaller group. So yeah, if you're comfortable with unmuting and asking your question, feel free to do so.
Hello. Hi. Can you guys hear me? Okay, cool. I was just wondering what you guys did like the summer before you transferred into Berkeley or enrolled in Berkeley.
I can start this one off. I personally did the summer bridge program. I think it was 6 weeks. So I was here in the Bay before any of the freshmen had arrived. And it was a great experience because, you know, you get to know the campus, you get to know how, like, I don't know if you got, like, obviously senior weekend this year was virtual, but once you come in the fall and hopefully classes are in person, you'll get to realize that, like, the campus is very hilly and sometimes your classes may be pretty far apart. So I had the privilege to, you know, experience the campus when there wasn't not that many people around, and get a sense for how Berkeley in the Bay is through the summer bridge program.
Yeah, the summer before transferring, I was in like a research lab in San Diego. But I had a chance to go up to Berkeley and do like, I forgot what program it might have been, but it was like a transfer specific program.
Yeah, Maura, what was that program that we did where Anthony and all of them did like research? I forget what it was called.
Was that the, Walter, was that the CCTS program? Computational chemistry for transfer students? Was that it? Or was it another one?
I didn't do it. I wish I had.
You had done it.
Oh, I see. Got it.
instead, but I wish that I'd gone up to Berkeley earlier.
Oh, I see. Got it.
I'm gonna be there for 2 years, so it's not a big deal if I go earlier or not. Obviously, I didn't know that like a year of my time there was gonna be virtual, so I really wish that I had done it. So if you get a chance to do anything on campus before, definitely go for it.
Can I say something about that actually for transfer students? We are gonna, there's an 8-week summer research program for incoming transfer students. You have to apply. It's called the chemistry, it's a joint program between the College of Chemistry and the Chemical Sciences Division of the Lawrence Berkeley National Lab, which is just up the hill from College of Chemistry. So you might want to check it out. There's an email that's going to be going out to all admitted transfer students sometime in the next week with a lot more information about the program. Khurshid, would it be okay if I put your name and email address in the chat for them to email you if they want more info? Okay, cool. Thank you. Khurshid is going to be helping get the program off the ground. And there's also a decent stipend associated with it. It's a fellowship. Okay, I'll stop talking now.
Yeah, I think before I came to Berkeley, definitely get a tour of the campus. That's what I did. I came up a little small road trip with my dad, and seeing the campus for the first time, I don't know, it was disorienting, but I'm glad I did, because when I came, I did feel a little more prepared for just having the general idea of the layout and everything. Makes you feel a lot more comfortable. You're not struggling too much when you do arrive for GBO. And it was a nice little break because, Berkeley is rigorous. You don't want to work too hard before starting such an endeavor, especially if you're starting off in College of Chemistry. Moments like those really made my undergrad took off a lot of stress from me. So yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree with what Josh said. Those summer programs are great for definitely if you want that for your summer. But I would also say be careful of burnout. Don't overload yourself every semester all the time. And be sure to take time for yourself and take breaks. The summer before I came to Berkeley, I did a really brief 2-week internship, the 3-week internship program at the research lab that's near my home, and it wasn't that much. I basically only had time to learn some of the basic lab techniques and what they were working on and sort of the theory behind it. But I still really loved the experience. I got to learn about what a research lab setting was like, and I got to speak to the grad students and PhD students and the PI about just various topics related to coming to university. And they also have a lot of advice to give. They were telling me, one of them was actually from Berkeley, and they were telling me about how basically all the insider tips and stuff, at least from their experience. Yeah.
Any other questions? Thanks, Calvin.
I have a question if everyone's willing to answer, whoever wants to. I'm a transfer student, and Berkeley definitely has a reputation from just rumors, right? I don't actually know anyone who's been to Berkeley, of being very competitive, and students kind of, I don't know, don't get along as well. Obviously, during this week and hearing all the panelists and things like that, I'm not getting that feeling from anyone, but has there been any of that? And then how did you overcome it? Or is that just a misconception of the campus?
I'm not a transfer student, but I don't want to knock down other majors or other colleges, but definitely within the College of Chemistry, I did not see that as much. I feel like we're a lot smaller of a community. You know, like almost everyone in your classes, and you might compare yourself to other people within the college chemistry and feel as if there is, but I've never truly experienced it. But I do know that there is that type of culture, which my friends have talked about in other majors, and like they do struggle with that, and I'm just been grateful that I have not. But I mean, it might be true in like another college within Berkeley, but I think because, like I said, everyone knows each other, everyone's really a lot more comfortable with each other. We're not a massive college, you know. So that's been my experience.
Yeah, I've noticed a very similar thing. In other colleges, it kind of seems that way. I guess I had luck in that the people that I work with in the College of Chemistry are generally very friendly, and like no one's like trying to harm you academically in any way. I think anywhere you go, there are going to be people that are like hyper competitive, and that's kind of something you can expect anywhere, really. But it's never gotten to a point where it's an issue for me. You kind of just you study with the people you want to study, and that's kind of it. You know, like if you do see someone that is kind of doing like the max in every sort of way and maybe like only looks out for themselves, then you stay to yourself and with your people, you know, and it's not a big deal. Yeah, but it's definitely not common within the college.
Yeah, I want to say I agree with Walter. And within the College of Chem, I personally didn't have like experiences with a lot of people that maybe, I guess, like toxic that or really contribute to that toxic culture. But just like in every other college, there may be some people that, you know, may be pretentious or you know, just be kind of like off-putting. Well, like Walter said, you know, you just want to be with people that you get along with, and that will just go really well for you and like your mental health in the long run.
Yeah, I'll just add on a little bit to all that because I agree with what everybody has said. But yeah, basically, I think sometimes the reputation of Berkeley is sort of defined by like the worst that happens. Because I'm sure like people have probably heard of rumors of like uh, people like spreading, for example, like fake notes or something like that, or like trying to like ruin your work in a lab or something. Um, as far as I can tell, those are just rumors. I've never seen or heard it like happen from like a first person account. Um, but yeah, it is very competitive here, and I can see like in some extreme cases like how those rumors would get around because sort of like everybody here is very motivated, and like some people take it to the extreme. But I would just say like surround yourself with the people that you feel comfortable with, and if one of the people that you're around like acts like that, and that's not something that you like, I would say like probably like drift away from those people, like cut them out of your lives, you know.
Thank you.
I want to point out as well that like
Oh, go ahead.
you might have the mentality of like they were almost like trained to go to Berkeley, you know? But I think it's very telling as well that the 5 student panelists didn't even know the reputation of the College of Chemistry when they were applying. And we just kind of found out once we were here or accepted the offer. So most people I think are like that in the college.
Yeah, sorry, one more thing to add on. Yeah, like some of the like smartest people I know, like in the College of Chemistry, and I wouldn't even consider them my friends. They're more acquaintances, you know. I don't really interact with them too much outside of class, but they are the nicest people that I know. And it's surprising because I feel like imposter syndrome. I feel out of place at times. I'm like, I'm not as good as these people, but I've never been put down by them. In fact, they go out of their way to help me, you know. They ask if I need help, and it's really not that like, oh, this person's failing, I'm going to let them fail. If people see you struggling, they will come and help you. And I've honestly had a really good experience within the College of Chemistry with regard to this. Whereas I know I have friends in other majors who are like, yeah, these people are like specifically like trying to make people fail and all this. And Like it's toxic culture, and I'm sure there are toxic people within the College of Chemistry, but overall it's a really healthy environment from my experience.
Thanks, Josh. Any other questions for the panelists?
About like how many units would you recommend for our first semester at Berkeley? Especially for like transfer student, because I'm gonna be a transfer student. I was just wondering.
I would recommend, especially if most transfer students that I know, including myself, transfer with a lot of units, and you kind of don't need to be adding on a ton of units to your schedule. So first semester, definitely like take as few as you can, like take the minimum of classes, and that also gives you a chance to get involved in a lot of other things outside of academics. At least while you feel it out and you kind of get used to the school. And then after that, your spring semester, you can add more units if you want to. That was advice given to me like by an advisor, and I did not take it, and I wish I had. It would have been a lot nicer.
Definitely take note of what Walter just said. We will tell you that over and over. And yes, you will not believe us that you have to give yourself time to adjust and transition from high school to college. So you may think, yes, I can handle it. And you do not know the rigors of the program just yet. You're going to transition from being at home or wherever you were before with your guardians waking you up, your parents waking you up in the morning. No one's going to wake you up. So you want to make sure that you're giving yourself time to adjust to that. So that's a good point, Walter, for sure.
And we'll point out that as a transfer student, I thought because I was so used to a high course load in community college that I wouldn't struggle at all. And I think I was probably a little more prepared than the freshman admits, but it was still like an adjustment. I was away from home. There were so many other things in my life. So definitely taking a lighter semester is a good thing.
Please, 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 transfer students, please listen to what Walter is telling you.
That was so great what he
please,
just said.
please.
Yes. Especially about taking, classes in community college, taking more. So you thinking that's going to be transferable to, Berkeley, and it's not at all.
Yeah, thank you for this heads up, Walter. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, any final thoughts from our panelists?
I just want to thank everyone, for coming out here and listening to all of us. Yeah, I definitely wish you all the best of luck in picking what college you want to go to. And as a final note, Berkeley and the College of Chem is a really great place to be. And you'll definitely learn about yourself and about the academics if you decide to come here.
We will say that you've been accepted, so you are Berkeley material already. And that's gonna have to be something that you keep telling yourself. Even if you choose to come here, that's gonna go through your mind at some point. I still feel like I'm not Berkeley material and I'm about to graduate from here. But you are, you got in. So yeah, congrats everyone.
Coming to Berkeley is definitely the best choice I've ever made. And I'm really glad for the benefits of the College of Chemistry. Like I said before, it's a really renowned college, and you got admitted for a reason. It's rigorous, but it pays off in the end. And so many great minds have come here before you, and you're one of those great minds too. You got accepted for the same reason that they did. So you got to stay optimistic and be happy that you're in. It's a great college.
Yeah, I would say something like very similar to that. Like the fact that you've been admitted means like you're more than qualified to do well here. So just like I feel like take the leap and believe in yourself, and yeah, thanks to everybody for coming and listening to us just kind of ramble.
Yeah, thanks everybody. It's been really it's been a pleasure and an honor to spend this time with you. And yeah, thanks to the panelists and to those of you who joined us today. We really appreciate it.
I agree. Thank you all to the panelists and thank you all for tuning in. That's the first step as well. You're taking the initiative, you're taking control of your academic journey. You're coming to hear people talk about their experiences. So yeah, thank you for coming.
And thanks also to Jasil and Khurshid, who are two other advisors on our team. Appreciate you guys staying late. So thanks.
Yes, thank you.
All right, everybody. I think I'm going to close this session. Are we ready?
Yeah, I think everyone has everyone's email in the chat. So yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you, everybody. Good luck with making your decision, and don't hesitate to reach out if you need more information from us. And thank you, Maya. I really appreciate you putting this together. So great.
No problem. I enjoyed it.
Thank you so much. Have a great evening.
All right.
Bye. Have a great evening.
Bye, everybody.